Hello, welcome along to another episode of PL Seasons to Remember. Tonight we're going to be discussing the Leicester City title winning season. And as ever, we're joined by Ryan Tatham. Evening, Ryan.
Evening.
Also joined by Bradley Green on again.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
No problem. And then we've got another newcomer today, Liam Tatham, which is Ryan's aka. Liam, if I come to you first, you want to give us a bit of a brief description about who you support, and then we'll get on with the show.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Liam. I support Leeds. Have done for as long as I can remember. I remember the early 2000s, and then obviously the relegation season down to the Championship, and then years after that suffering in the lower leagues, and then obviously it's got a bit more interesting last couple of seasons with being close to getting promoted. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, but yeah, I try and live not far from Ellen Road, just about 10 minutes walk away, so I try and get to as many games as I can. Been to quite a few of this season, I actually went to the Huddersfield game before the season got curtailed, but so support Leeds, and that's it really.
Thank you very much for that short description. We're going to discuss the Leicester City title winning season tonight. So just a bit of a brief about it. So the season before, Leicester finished 14th in the Premier League under Nigel Pearson. Nigel Pearson was sacked at the end of the season, and then they brought in Dilly Ding Dilly Dong Claudio Ranieri to the club. We'll just start with that first. So, T, we'll start with you. What did you think to the appointment of Claudio Ranieri going to Leicester? His time with Chelsea, and I think he was at an international club, wasn't he, before? Well,
I'm not too sure where we were at. It seemed to go off the radar a little bit, didn't it, after he left Chelsea? And then, which we talked about on an earlier episode, where we felt like he were a bit harshly treated at Chelsea, and then I think he were one of those sort of comedy figures when he sort of came back to Leicester, and people were thinking, "Oh, why have they got him?" And I think a lot of Leicester fans even didn't really, imagine the success that they were going to have with Ranieri, and I think a lot of them were just waiting to see how it panned out, really. But they sort of plucked him out of nowhere, really, because it wasn't like he'd had recent Premier League jobs. He'd been, like you say, all over Europe and everything.
Yeah.
So a bit of a shock.
Yeah, Brad, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Ryan says, he was a bit harshly treated at Chelsea and kind of went off the radar. But like when he was appointed, it was kind of treated as a joke, like even by their own fans and stuff, saying like, why have they got him? But like being a Leeds fan and being used to like such a revolving door, you tend to like approach stuff with the mind of, oh well, give him a chance. You don't like judge a book by its cover, so to speak.
Liam?
Yeah, I think similar to the other guys, really. I think when Ranieri got appointed, he was at the start of the season, he was the favourite to be the first manager sacked at the start of that season. So it didn't look good at the beginning. I think, as the boys said, like even the Leicester fans were a bit worried about him coming in and taking that team on that had just narrowly missed out on relegation the season before.
In this season, Leicester brought two transfers that they got this year. So they signed N'Golo Kante from CN for £8.10 million. So as you're looking at now, that's quite a steal, as he's now gone on to probably one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Robert Hoof, they got from Stoke for £3.78 million. They got Christian Fuchs from Schalke on a free. They got Nathan Dyer on loan from Swansea. That's all I've got down on here. So N'Golo Kante was a bit of an unknown. T. You sort of think when he first came to the Premier that he might be just another midfielder that comes in, stays, and then ends up.
Yeah, I think he would just. No one really sort of batted an eyelid to the moves that Leicester were making, because I don't think anybody does. With all respect to the sort of smaller clubs, all clubs have recently come up. I think obviously there's a step up in quality in who they can attract, and the sort of pull that they have to get these players from Europe because they've got they're playing in the Premier League. But I don't think anyone could have envisaged how well the work those players that they brought in worked out, and I think it were more of a testament to Ranieri's coaching, a bit like what we said about Bielsa on the Leeds one, where it were a lot of the existing players that they had, like Vardy and Mahrez, and how he sort of got the best out of them, that were most impressive, really.
The main guy of that season, Brad, was Jamie Vardy. So in that season, he scored 13 goals in 11 consecutive matches, which he broke Ruud van Nistelrooy's record. I'll give you the teams he scored against: Villa, Stoke, Arsenal, Norwich, Southampton, Palace, West Brom, Watford, Newcastle. And as I said, he broke the points, that particular record at Man United. Now, Brad, coming from a semi-pro background yourself, what a story for Vardy to do what he's done, and then to come to be in the Premier League and to do what he did that season is quite incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like, it's a full-on, like, rags to riches story, if you will. But like, if you're quality, you're quality. Like, it doesn't matter what league you're playing in. Like, there's other top quality players who just don't make it by chance, and he's like one of the lucky ones who obviously got picked up for his talent and carried on developing.
Yeah. Such a quality player. Liam, 24 goals Jamie Vardy got that season. Like I said, I don't think I'll have a better season than that, in my opinion. I don't know what you think.
No, I mean, I think he's been doing up until with this season got stopped. He was having a pretty good season this year, but yeah, like you said, 24 goals. I think he was one off the Golden Boot. I think Harry Kane picked him by 1 goal, but incredible season. I think as well it helped him a lot having Mahrez in that team. Mahrez got 11 assists that season, and probably 10 of those were for Jamie Vardy. I think they just worked out how to play. I don't think initially I don't think teams took them seriously, and then I think Leicester just carried on playing the same way week in, week out. They were absolutely ruthless on the counter attack, and Vardy's pace, he can beat anyone when he's up for it. And a lot of his goals came off counter attacks in that season.
Yeah, it did. I agree that it did feel like everyone's kept thinking that even when it got to about Christmas, people just felt the bubble were going to burst and it's going to come to an end soon. They'll start going back to normal, losing games and stuff, and it just never happened, and they just kept on going until they'd secured the title.
Because it was. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, go on, mate. Go on.
It was that turn of year when they got actually better, wasn't it? And we started keeping clean sheets and stuff, and went on a run of like
getting 1-0s and stuff.
A lot of 1-0 wins and stuff, and really shut on the shot.
I think the thing for me, you said there, Dougie, about who they brought in the summer. But I mean, I think in those 9 games in the 2014-15 season, when they were 9 games from being relegated. They were rock bottom, and then they just had that turnaround. In the last 9 games, they won 7 of them, and they just sort of carried that form into that title-winning season. And they just bought very good acquisitions in people like Robert Huth, who's Premier League experience, up alongside Wes Morgan, who was solid that season. And then you've got Kante, who's just fantastic defensive midfielder. I think they had like a very good squad that was sort of people didn't expect to do the things that they did.
I mean, it was an incredible season. Leicester City sat top of the league for 147 days, which is an incredible amount of days. Leicester City only lost 3 games that season. I'm going to put it to the floor. Can you tell us who the 3 games was? Who do you think the 3 games was they lost to that season?
Well, Do it. I'll let Ryan answer that because he might be quite happy to mention it.
Yeah. So they lost home and away to Arsenal, which obviously kills a bit because we came second that season. If you beat the champions home and away, you'd hope that you come there or thereabouts where they finish. But that just shows like the inconsistency of Arsenal. But I'm not quite sure who the other one was. Liverpool
away.
Yeah. Benteke, one of his own fewer goals for Liverpool, and one of the fewer goals he's had since.
Where did Liverpool finish that season?
You are sorry?
Where did the season?
Well, maybe fifth. Thanks for that, Brad. So that season, just looking at what they did against the so-called big teams that season. So, like I said, one of the massive results I had that season was when they beat Man City away, and they beat them 3-1, which was probably one of the days where you sort of thought, actually, this is pretty real now. You better take notice because they look like they're going to be on the verge of doing something special. They had the draw at Old Trafford, which was pretty much sealed it, and then I said we'll come on to what happened after that. They drew away with Chelsea. As I said, they lost to Arsenal home and away, and I think they drew with Spurs as well. I'm just looking at they drew with Spurs 0. I'm just looking at the away games that they had. So didn't do that well really against Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Spurs. Liverpool didn't really do that well. It was just the other teams that they seemed to really beat, but they kept coming back a lot. I think there was a game again this season against Villa when they were 2-0 down. They came back and won 3-2. That was the difference, I think, that season, why Leicester won the league, because they just didn't know when they were beaten.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think just going back to what you said about that Man City game, I think, like you said, people still had that feeling around. I think that were around February time, and people still felt that the bubble were going to burst and they were going to fall off. But when they sort of went, I remember that game. It was such a statement, and it wasn't like a fluky win or anything. They ran out, well deserved winners, and they definitely had the measure of City on the day. So yeah. I think definitely, some of the results as well. Like you said, not knowing when they were beaten, and also a lot, like Brad said, a lot of the 1-0s towards the end of the season as well. They just grinded out results when they didn't play so well. So that's another credit to them, and it's a good quality to have as well. That.
Brad, do you want to add anything to that?
No, he's covered it perfectly, right? It's just like it's a mentality thing, isn't it? Like whether you go into a season with expectations, and whether that's to win league or no matter what your expectations are, the one factor you should have is that we're not going to stop playing. Whether we're 4, 5, 6 down, you've got to play until the end, and that's where they picked up a lot of the points and a lot of the 3 points. Is by really playing to last whistle again.
Liam, as you are a betting man, the three of you. The City were 5,000 to 1.
Yeah, I didn't have a quid on that.
The Premier title that season. It's an amazing thing to say they were that far in the betting and to go and win the title. I mean, someone got lucky, didn't they?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of people in Leicester that just have the sort of annual £5 bet on it, and just because it's their team, and a few people. I think there was one guy actually that won about 25 grand off it, by sticking by his team. But yeah, I mean, it just shows you, like what Brad was saying, like what confidence can do to a team. They just carried on winning, and I think what people forget is that they got knocked out of the cup competitions really early. They got knocked out FA Cup first round after a replay. They got knocked out at Carabao Cup second round. So they didn't have that cup distraction. They didn't have European football where all their rivals had European football throughout the season pretty much. So that just meant that they could solely focus on the league, and I think once they got on a roll, they were just unstoppable. But I don't think the bookies will be ever having 5,000 to 1 odds on a team again to win the Premier League, because that's pretty, it's pretty crazy, isn't it, to think that a team
what they thought their own expectations were, because like watching something the other day, I think Ranieri set out a points target of 39. Like set them a 39 points target or something like that. So they didn't even fancy themselves. So at what point during the season do they start to think no, we've got something here? Because you get a bad start to the season, don't you, when you've got a newer team who your Blackpool that came up that season and go top of the league after the first game of the season, and just stuff like that you don't expect a team to stay there.
Just game by game, wasn't it? It was just they went on to the next one, won the next one, and it just literally went like that. And they were there or thereabouts.
Ranieri just always said that. I always remember him in his post-match interviews. Every time they asked him, it was just one game. We just need to get to 40 points, 39 points, and then we'll see where we are then. And that's how he continued doing it throughout the season. And then I think it got to a point where they were like, right, well, we can just go for it now. Got nothing to lose anymore.
Just to point out to all of you, do you ever believe that anything like this will ever happen again? Would another, not saying not Leicester again, but would you say another team that you don't believe would get towards a title could do what Leicester did? And to be honest, I'll tell you the league standings at the end of the season. So incredibly, Man City finished fourth on 66 points. Spurs had 70. Arsenal had 71. And Leicester finished with 81 points. So Spurs finished third in a 2-horse race, didn't they? An incredible thing there, Brad. Incredible points difference to say at the teams that they've gone up against, especially the likes of Man City and Arsenal and Spurs that season.
Yeah, I think that season is you can kind of compare it to the chances England had for winning World Cup just gone. You avoid all big teams, all the big teams get knocked out. A lot of the big teams that season were dead inconsistent. And you looked at, did you say it were 81 points?
81 points, mate, yeah. Arsenal 7.
They won the league with 81 points. That wouldn't even put them in the top 3 now. So if you're going to do that again, you just need consistency, and you can't be dropping points. I think, although it's a remarkable achievement and taking nothing away, it's just still an element of luck as well that other teams won't result.
I think it was a bit of a wake-up call to the rest of the teams after Leicester won the league. I think that following season, Man City went and got Pep Guardiola. Man United brought Mourinho in the season after, and it's it just sort of woke them up a little bit. And I think now you can see how far ahead Liverpool, Man City are. They're so far ahead of the other teams.
Sorry.
Where did you say birds?
You are.
Birds on the podcast. I do apologise, Liam. Sorry. I don't know what's happening. Go, mate, carry on.
Have a look. Are they having a fight?
It's the title winning season, this.
Yeah, what was that one again, Dougie? I've gone off track. Whether it'll happen again, yeah, sorry. So I think just something that Brad said a bit earlier were a bit about mentality, and I think you could imagine it happening with someone like Wolves potentially. So I just hear the birds.
We speak about Ryan.
Right.
We speak about all the time as well. We always say, why don't all teams go into a season? Everyone's gone. I'm just
What I'll maybe do, boys, is I'll stay here, but I'll just mute when you guys are speaking, and I'll just have it on when I speak. So yeah, sorry to sort of go back and forth there, Brad, but Right. Sorry. So Can you cut this, Bob?
Something else.
So,
Keep going, mate.
right. Yeah. So I could imagine it happening with someone like Wolves because like it's just a mentality thing. If they started the first 10 games and they were up there and they'd only like lost one game or something like that, then it then goes into like the mentality going into the next game. And if they're just winning game after game, then they believe that they can do something special. And I think that's what Leicester had. So I believe it could happen again. People a lot of the time people just need that start. Look at Sheffield United this season. They've just been, although they're not contending for the league, they've just been consistent from the off. And then they're up there, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's an absolutely incredible story. So they actually won the league, Brad, because of the battle at the bridge between Chelsea and Spurs.
Yeah.
Finished 2-2, which was an incredible football match. To win the league without actually playing is one thing. Do you think that Leicester, does it matter how they won it? Would they rather have won it at their home ground by actually winning the game to win the title, or do you think it really matters really how it's won really?
I mean, it depends, doesn't it? Like, what were the game before? They had Man United, didn't they? They had a chance to win it against Man United, so you could look at if they win it away anyway. Like, they've got to go home having already won it anyway, so I don't know if it really matters.
Yeah, Liam, I'm sure you watched the Chelsea Spurs game. So I mean, everyone was singing Ranieri in the ground that night for Leicester, with all the Chelsea fans were. Have you ever seen a title thing where literally the other team is actually wanting Leicester to win the title and celebrating an ex-manager? Really, it's quite strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it was sort of strange how it sort of panned out, but I think obviously Chelsea fans knew that they were also getting, that it weren't just sort of for Ranieri, sort of like an ex-manager, but they were also getting, they were sort of they were ending Tottenham's chance of winning the league, and at the end of the day, Tottenham are a London rival of Chelsea, so I think that it'll have been very sweet that they stopped them winning the league that night. Yeah.
It's an incredible thing for Leicester. So, I mean, I think that's all I've got really on here, guys, for this particular thing. If anyone else would like to add anything else, T or Bradley, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I just think. Sorry. I've had it muted. That battle at the bridge. I remember I was in the cinema that night, and I remember when I went in. I think there were. It was sort of waiting for the film to start, and Tottenham had gone into like 2-0 lead, and I just thought, obviously me being an Arsenal fan, I didn't want Tottenham to come anywhere near it, but and then to come out and see that they'd levelled it, and then watch the game and see the highlights and everything, it was just, that game was so much bad blood, and I think from there the rivalry between Chelsea and Spurs has just escalated, hasn't it? And I think Chelsea, they had their own sort of agenda that night. So it was a bit of a weird scenario where they didn't, play to. I don't know whether Leicester players are the preferred to actually play the match that actually wins them the title, or whether to win it that way. I guess in the end they wouldn't have been bothered really, would they? Because they've won the league. So yeah.
Would you say that was the best time for any team really? I mean, you're an Arsenal fan too, so would you say it was the best time to win the league? Because I mean, people say now about Liverpool winning the league, well, so-called win the league this year, that it's been the best time to win it because everyone else has been really poor. So would you say back then when Leicester won it, it was the best time to win the league because the top teams weren't as good as they were normally? To say, like you said, Brad said 81 points. I mean, yeah. Bugger all now, really. That's nothing. Like I said, Brad said, we're top four. I might be very unlucky, but especially to win the league title, say now with over 100 points now is pretty much what we're going to finish now. Was that the best time to win a league title when the big teams weren't that great? To all of you, really?
I think so, because just like you said, Man City getting 66 points is like unheard of. I think they always just get at least like 80 odd points, and it's just they were so inconsistent, and teams like Chelsea had that really they'd won the league the season before and they won the league after that, and that was just like a blip. And then obviously, Arsenal had their inconsistency. They should have really. Whereas Leicester maybe didn't do so well with the big teams. Leicester, put to bed the smaller teams and the bottom half teams, whereas Arsenal were more inconsistent. So I think they were just the best team that year, and like we've touched on as well, I think it's meant that it's changed the top teams' approach, and that's maybe why we look at the more recent seasons and teams are getting more and more points because there's so much, so less margin for error now.
Yeah. Liam, same question.
Yeah, I think if you look at that season, you could look at every team that you'd normally think would be up there. Man United were sort of on the end of getting rid of Van Gaal. Like Ryan says, Chelsea had just a bizarre season, finishing 10th. It was there for anybody to win it that season, and Leicester were obviously the most consistent, and they've won the league with 81 points, and the nearest team to them was Arsenal with 71, I think it was. So that just tells you how inconsistent everyone was. So yeah, I think if they'd have tried it, obviously we saw the season after they nearly got, they went down there and finished it bottom half the following season. So definitely the perfect time for them to win a league title.
Brad, anything you want to?
I think what's mad, it's something like we've all done. Like, can you just pull up the results again that they had on the road against the bigger teams?
Yeah, of course, can you? So on the road we had, I said, the big victory at City, which was 3-1. The draw against Man United, the 1-1 draw away at Chelsea. I said the loss to Arsenal away, lost to Liverpool away, and then drew 0-0 with Spurs away. So that's
so to go to be a team that's nearly been relegated, like the season before, and to not bring in at the time world beaters, like unheard of like players really, and kind of like mediocre. Not taking anything away from, but it's not a player you'd have looked at a Premier League like winning side, like i.e. Robert Hoof or whatever. But so for them to go on road with just the season after and only get beat 2 out of however many games, I think it's unbelievable, man. I really do. I think they've like done extremely well on road, and it's mad. I just think it's mad how they've like managed to be like kind of consistent on the road against the bigger teams.
I think an absolutely incredible feat there by Leicester. T, just like anything you would like to add just before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think just looking ahead after that, I think did that maybe change the expectations of Leicester fans and maybe the board at Leicester? Did they feel that did they then expect that that success and that they were going to build on it? I think a lot of Leicester fans were realistic in the thought that it's a one-off and it's never going to happen again. But I just think maybe Ranieri in the end he paid for the success that he brought because they weren't replicating that season the season after. So that's why they've been a bit more. Maybe in a way to sort of keep themselves at the top. If you look at them now, they're a bit more established amongst the top 6 and stuff. So maybe it was the right direction to go in. So that they're looking to attract.
The Champions League this season, did they? They didn't do that in the Champions League.
No, I think they got to quarter-finals and we're Atletico Madrid that knocked them out.
Yeah, which is a very good feat. That really.
Yeah. Who did they beat in under 16?
Sevilla.
Sevilla.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an absolutely wonderful time for him in the Champions League, especially. I bet no one thought they were even going to get past that, really. Like a one-season wonder, as I keep hearing a lot recently. But yeah, I think that's right. I bet, guys, unless you guys want to add to anything else before we go.
It's the Champions League thing. It goes back to like something that Liam touched on earlier, where it was on about like all the bigger teams in the season where they won the league were in the Champions League. So for them to go into like a European like competition the season after, and like people to still have the same expectations of them to be up there in the league, and that's a lot of like work on the squad with travel. I don't think they invested that heavily the season after either. So it was always going to be difficult.
I think losing Kante as well, and they brought in what did they bring in now? was it Mendy they brought in midfield?
I don't think he really played that often.
No, I think they thought it was going to be another. I think it was a Kante style player, but not N'Golo Kante. So yeah, well, guys, it's been a crazy episode. But nothing else, mate. Is that it?
Nothing else from me, mate. No, I think that were a good discussion.
Yeah.
What about your mates in background?
Oh dear. So you can, as ever, tweet us at PL Seasons and at PL Seasons. Is it to remember? I think that's.
You're the host.
I'm like Bob gets it wrong when he does it. See, I'll let you do this. I'll let you do it.
So you can tweet us at PL Seasons. You can do the Gmail.
And then PL Season at plseasons@gmail.com.
No, it's PL Seasons to remember at gmail.com. If there's any questions.
Well, I keep forgetting because of all emails we get. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. It's been a funny old episode.
Nice and light-hearted.
We'll be back during next week with more episodes. So from all of us, have a good evening. Meet you later. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, he's gone.